Welcome to Heritage Roofing. Today we are in the Dartmoor National Park in South Devon, and we are joined with Jenny Reed. And Jenny Reed is a chartered ecologist working in and around the local area and actually further afield as well. What legal obligations do contractors and clients have with such species?
Well, the legal obligations are that because they're protected by wildlife legislation, if you do anything that disturbs them, modifies a roost, so it might be that if you've got a slipped tile that the bats are flying in and out of, that if you repair that, you've modified an access point. So if you modify the roost, if you damage a roost, so again, if you went in and did an attic conversion, for instance, or you did a roof strip without getting the proper licenses, then that would be damage. If you destroy a roost, so same sort of thing, if you completely obliterate the roost, or if you kill or injure a bat, then the person that is completing the work, so the contractor, and the person that has engaged them to do the work would be equally liable for that in terms of the wildlife legislation. So as a contractor and as the person who owns the property, you would both be equally liable if any of those things happened without the correct licensing.
And you'll be prosecuted?
You will be prosecuted, yeah.
Is there sentences?
Yes, there are. So you can be fined up to £5,000 and you can have a prison sentence as well, depending on...
Has there been any cases of prison sentences?
I think that no, I don't know.
Not sure.
Not sure about
One to look into.
I do know for sure that there have been some quite big publicised prosecutions where people have been fined a great deal of money.
Wow. So not just the ecologist, so even just working on a listed building is the same protocol. So it is the contractor and it is the homeowner that are both liable for prosecution if they don't have listed building consent for working on these properties. So it's worth doing them all at the same time. So in terms of, obviously it's a legal requirement to have listed building consent to work on a listed building. Even if it's minor works, the conservation officer does need to know this. So you can't just go and do it and say, oh, you know, it's around the back, or it's okay because Jenny next door can't see it. It's a legal requirement to, at the very least, have a green light email from the conservation officer to work on these properties. And would that be the same for an ecology? So if we were talking about something that wasn't a listed building, something that was just an old building, maybe not super old, but let's say 60 years. So a 60-year-old building, what would I do then? Would I need to get a bat survey? Or I would?
Yep, it's exactly the same.
So in terms of roofing in general, are you saying that every roof that has a re-roof should have a bat survey? So
in terms of legislation, bats are protected, whether or not you need planning consent, whether or not you need listed buildings consent. So really, everybody, in terms of due diligence, should be conducting a bat survey before they do roofing works. Now, if you were a contractor and you were working on a property where no permission was required, it was just permitted development to be able to go repair the roof, and you encountered bat droppings or a bat, you would need to stop work straight away and call Natural England.
Okay. So that way around. I mean, this is the thing, because with a listed building or one that lays within the parameters of conservation, it's your duty. In fact, you can't get past that part of the application without an ecology report or survey. So that's why everyone does it.
Yeah.
But when it's not a listed building, you technically don't need planning permission for a re-roof. So it isn't triggered. Yeah. So it's the other way around. So as a contractor, it's your responsibility to, if you find a bat, to report it and stop work, close everything down, call an ecologist, get them in.
I would go further than that, and
right.
I would say if you are a contractor working on buildings that could have bats, it's probably better for you to advise the client to get an ecologist in before you start roofing works.
But
so
if you didn't know,
if you didn't know
and you thought, well, it's very unlikely to have bats. I mean, it's quite new. There doesn't seem to be any.
Yeah, I mean, so there is no defence anymore in the wildlife legislation for people saying, oh, I didn't know.
So you can't claim ignorance.
You cannot claim ignorance. And I've had many times where I've gone into a property and the person said, I've lived here for 20 years, there's definitely no bats in here. And we've walked into the attic and I've immediately found a bat. So, I think it's just worth noting that and actually one of those, we were standing in the attic at the same time and the bat was visible to both of us, but they just hadn't spotted it.
Oh, brilliant.
Okay, Russ, this is a piece of breathable roofing membrane that I retrieved from a property that I'm working on at the moment. This has been in place for probably, well, certainly less than 10 years, probably about 5 years. So what you can see here is that not only has the breathable membrane deteriorated because of the urine of the bats, so the urine will degrade the layers of the membrane. Mm-hmm. So that you can see here, where there just isn't the
inside coating.
The inside coating's gone, so it's not waterproof anymore. So within a period of less than 10 years, that membrane is not functioning as a waterproof membrane anymore. The reason that ecologists dislike this so much, though, is because this also happens. So if you can see, all of that inner layer and the fibres within it have been completely degraded and pulled apart. Now this happens because the bats, especially on this particular roost, this was a bat called a lesser horseshoe. Now lesser horseshoes are the ones that will fly into a roost. They have to what's called free fly into the roost because they can't crawl like a smaller bat can.
Why is that?
It's just the way, the physiology, the way that they're built. So they will fly into the roost and then they need to immediately go up to whatever it is that they're holding on to.
And they're going to hang, are they?
And they hang. And they're the ones that sort of do that classic thing. They wrap their wings around them and they hang upside down in a way that a bat would, that you'd imagine a bat, would roost. What happens is because their claws automatically grip, so that when they are roosting and resting, they don't have to think about holding on, they just hold on. Mm-hmm. And as soon as they then open their wings to fly, then their feet release and off they go again. So what happens when the bats are roosting on this breathable roofing membrane is that these fibres begin to all sort of pull out, and the bats get sort of snagged on the fibres that have come out, and they become so tangled in the fibres that they cannot release, and then they will starve, which is what unfortunately has happened to this lesser horseshoe bat. They will starve because they're unable to leave the roost, so they become attached to the membrane. So you can see this one, its little feet have become completely entangled, and some of the debris from that is in the toes.
How old is this bat?
I have no idea.
Is it a juvenile? It's not a juvenile one, though.
This is a lesser horseshoe bat. So lesser horseshoe bats are quite small.
Oh, they are small in general, yeah.
But it's so degraded now, I can't really tell. I mean, it does look quite small.
And they need to be hanging in order to take off, do they? So they couldn't be sort of, the idea is that when, like you say, when they open their wings, that is them immediately into flight.
Yes, exactly. So this particular bat, there are two species that roost like this. You've got the greater horseshoe bats, which are much bigger than this, and you've got the lesser horseshoe bats, which are these littler ones. And they will literally hang up like that.
So this is a really good example of when you're looking at these new membranes that are coming into the market. There's a couple now, and they have to pass a scratch propensity test. And this is like the perfect case study of what a scratch propensity test is. So the bats have obviously been scratching at it in order to, find a good purchase to hang from, to hibernate or to rest. And it's just peeled up all of the fibres, and the fibres are basically killing the bats. So
yeah.
So.
And I think in terms of the roofing felt as well, it's just not working anymore. So it's not only killing the bats, which we really don't want, it's just not working as a roofing membrane.
Yeah.
So I think the other thing to bear in mind is for us to be able to use some of these new membranes, which have passed this snagging propensity test, we have to have a certificate that we can send to Natural England. At the moment, there are only 2 products out there that have this snagging propensity test certificate.
Two breather membranes. So otherwise it's the bitumen membrane, and we know that.
And it's not just bitumen membrane, it's the 1F.
The 1F one.
Yeah,
okay,
because it has to be, and this is really key as well, it has to be the Hessian backed.
Oh, because they actually use the Hessian, do they?
Yeah, I guess they probably, I don't know, I think the other bitumastic felts are maybe,
there's different things woven into them, yes.
Yes, exactly. There's different things woven into them. Some of them are just not suitable, so it needs to be the 1F.
Okay, so there you go. So it's either 1F as a standard with just adequate airflow, which also needs to go through the ecology sort of protocol as well, because obviously too much airflow can create a different internal environment for them. So it's about getting the airflow right to use a non-breather membrane, but at the same time making sure that that doesn't conflict with the ecological presence. Yeah,
I think as well, based on my own professional opinion, I would say that if you've got a bat roost that's a really well used maternity roost, so you've got lots of bats that are going to be in that roost in the summer months, depending on the bat species, we could be talking about hundreds of bats over a period of months. I think that a lot of ecologists would say that ideally in that situation where you have a maternity roost, you still always favour, if possible, the 1F bitumastic, because we know it's tried and tested.
Or nothing.
Exactly. Yes. Whereas if you have the breathable, the breathable roofing membrane that has the snagging propensity test, that goes on a roost where you've got much lower numbers of bats.